Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our Michelle Red Lippy and our Gwen Gold Hoops. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about David Ritt's Divided Soul, the life of Marvin Gaye. Baby, I think we got this video and one more. Then on Friday, we're gonna do the Q&A over there on the Facebook. When Marvin arrived in Los Angeles in October, father was still in Washington. The younger Gaye was glad, but also furious. He landed in Los Angeles and went straight to the hospital to learn that mother's operation had been successful. From there, he moved into Marilyn Freeman's apartment in West LA, where he lived for more than a month, using Marilyn just as he'd use Freddie as a buffer between the world and himself. He tried to protect himself from the barrage of people wanting to see him. Suddenly, amazingly, he was hot again. Speaking on the phone a week after he arrived, Gaye told me he was pleased by his hit, but furious with father for having ignored mother during her hour of need. Marvin had immediately fallen back into the emotions of his childhood. Catch. I told you, David Ritz, it's like with him in this book, it's like, nigga, you're not asking the right questions, but at the same time, you're real smooth about throwing the shade. Remember when he said that Marvin Gaye's mother was the most beautiful woman in the world to him? Speaking on the phone a week after he arrived, Gaye told me he was pleased by his hit, but furious with father for having ignored mother during her hour of need. Marvin had immediately fallen back into the emotions of his childhood. I told her, he said, that she should have divorced the man long ago. He knows I told her that, and that's one of the reasons he hates me. And then I'm confused. Why was he mad about Teddy Pendergrass and Jan? You know how many bitches Teddy Pendergrass had? Girl, Jan Gaye was just one of, girl. Okay, not the. During those first 4 weeks back, he ran back and forth between Marilyn's apartment and the hospital. People sought him in both places. Smokey Robinson visited Marvin at Marilyn's, where they repaired their damaged relationship. I forgave him, Marvin later told me, for not loaning me money when I really needed it. Smokey wasn't gonna just hand you money. Who the hell is you to just be handing you money and then loaning it? How you gonna pay me back, brother? I don't never loan money to somebody that I know ain't got the money to pay me back. If I ain't got it to give, I ain't giving it. Nigga, if you can't go to the bank and get it, I ain't about to be the bank to give it to you. Attention. Why the hell you niggas ain't tell me that the video for Sexual Healing was a play on a bad porn movie? Why y'all ain't tell me that? I didn't know that. But when you think about it, it makes sense. The performance portion of Marvin's one and only video was filmed in Los Angeles in November at Carlos and Charlie's, a slick Sunset Strip night spot. In attendance were friends, family, and CBS execs. The dramatic segment, with its mock porn setup, Gaye examined by a sexy female doctor who causes his blood to boil and temperature to rise. A little later, Gaye made his first major public appearance. CBS threw him a lavish party at the same club, using the occasion to present him with the gold record for the single Sexual Healing, an album Midnight Love. Throughout the year, the period of Marvin's final psychological decline, he was inundated with honors and awards. He attended the CBS affair in a dark double-breasted pinstripe suit, looking conservatively, elegant, and diplomatic. his new image for the next few months. For the first time in 12 years, he'd partially shaved his beard, leaving only a mustache and a goatee. Gaye was going for a neater, slimmer look. Yeah, because he was a bit chubby in them suits. At the end of November, his popularity reached new heights. His hit-making talent was reconfirmed. He had now become a pop trendsetter in 3 different decades, having survived, rejected, or anticipated countless changes in musical fashion. In 22 years, he'd recorded 26 albums and enjoyed over 40 hits. His own sound had proven durable. He was an American original. He better pay them American taxes. Midnight Love, a profitable and solid hit, would sell over 2 million copies. Thriller, released in December 1982, would sell over 35 million units and single-handedly pulled the record business out of one of the worst slumps in its history. In the next 16 months, Gaye, always the competitor, felt his popularity being eclipsed not only by Michael, but by Lionel Richie as well. Oh, I was in love with oh my goodness, Lionel Richie. In the next 16 months, Gaye, always the competitor, felt his popularity being eclipsed not only by Michael, but by Lionel Richie as well. Richie, former lead singer of the Commodores, released his first solo album in 1982. And let me tell you something, that motherfucker was a monster. You hear me? Oh, it was a monster all night long, all night, yeah, all night long. In Marvin's mind, Richie was achieving the very thing that always eluded Gaye. Stardom based on middle-of-the-road pop ballads. I don't know what the hell that means. CBS was anxious for Gaye to tour, but Marvin kept putting off the plan. Dozens of major promoters were dying to book him. What? Do y'all know this nigga? Dozens of major promoters were dying to book him. Anyone who had known Marvin for the past 20 years, though, could have predicted his attitude. Frightened of going on stage, he put it off until the very last minute when he could no longer do without the cash. In spite of booming record sales, Marvin's money problems weren't over. When I saw him in mid-November at a family gathering at his sister Sweetsy's apartment on Olympic Boulevard, he was distraught from fighting with Jan. By the time the government gets their money, he said, complaining about his own finances, I'll be left with shit. Nothing's changed. If I want to get straight, I have to tour. And that's the last thing in the world I need right now. A tour will kill me. Crack will kill you too, Marvin. In the same month, January 1983, something else occurred. A further twist of fate, which would set the stage 16 months later for the final act. Father returned from Washington. He moved into his bedroom in the Gramercy Place home as though he'd never been gone. The atmosphere grew so tense that Jean, who'd been living in the house, and moved out. I sensed the trouble, she said, and wanted no part of it. Because Marvin had been floating in and out of the house, it was inevitable that the two would clash. With Father back, the savage struggle reared its ugly head again. Always at stake was the love of Mother. Where had Father been, wondering Marvin, during her hour of need? At what business does he have walking back into the house as though he owned it, not bothering to explain his absence, not apologizing for his negligence? Marvin's instincts were to throw his father out of the house. Father's instincts were to prevent Marvin from entering the house. Nothing had changed. The fierce competition, the jealousy, the head games, the hatred, 4 long decades of smoldering resentment. Gaye tried to stay away. Blowing more and more money on Booger Sugar, he was forced to give up the rental house in Bel Air and Palm Springs. He spent more time at Sweetsy's apartment, and it was there on a Saturday night, February 12th, that he and Gordon Banks, working on a drum machine squeezed in a closet, developed the rhythm track for a song he'd sing the next day on national television from the P0rn in Inglewood. Dressed in a conservative dark suit, his eyes covered by aviator shades, Gaye walked into the center of the arena before the National Basketball Association All-Star Game and sang the most soulful version of the national anthem since Jose Feliciano had interpreted it for a World Series in the late 60s. The same series, incidentally, during which Gaye had also sung the song. Is that the time that y'all talking about that Marvin had them glasses on and was high as booty cool, and he was singing the national anthem, high as booty cool, giving Uncle Sam the middle finger? Is that the one? Because ain't nothing in this book say he was high. Was y'all assuming? When he sang Sexual Healing at the 25th Annual Grammy Awards show at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles on February 23rd, however, his timing was off. He forced the vocal, a rarity for Marvin, and this resulted. He later admitted from being too high. It hardly mattered. So he admitted that he was high at the Grammys, but not at the NBA All-Star Game. The night was a personal triumph. He won the only 2 Grammys of his career and didn't even care that they were restricted to rhythm and blues categories for Best Male Vocal and Best Instrumental Performance, both for Sexual Healing. The idea of carrying home the little statuettes thrilled him. Earlier, he had said if he didn't win at least one, he was prepared to attack Lou Rawls. What the fuck did Lou Rawls do to you? He was prepared to attack Lou Rawls, his old Grammy nemesis. His acceptance speech was sweet and sincere as he acknowledged his children and his lifelong desire to be recognized by his peers. He even puckered up and kissed the Grammy. Inevitably, Marvin was unable to avoid it. Once again, his end was his beginning. He felt no differently than when, in his earliest Motown days, he so desperately wanted to be a star without having to step on stage and shake his ass. For months, he tried to resist. CBS had been pushing him to tour now for over 2 years, but finally money demands forced his hand. This time, he was pulling out all the stops. There was a new set of costumes, new singers and dancers, a bright new band. Yet the old guilt and anxieties not only remained but were aggravated. He felt himself being dragged back as a servant of sex. Yet the old guilt and anxieties not only remained but were aggravated. He felt himself being dragged back as a servant of sex. On April 2nd, 1983, preparing for his first American concert since 1979, he turned 44. Death awaited him. He knew it, and soon he would envision it. When his final tour opened in San Diego on April 18, 1983, Robert P0rn wrote the review for the Los Angeles Times. "I love you, baby," Gaye assured the crowd again and again as he prowled the stage, twisting his hips at every possible opportunity and smiling at the audience with the nervousness of a negligent lover trying to overcompensate for his absence. It also seemed peculiar, P0rn added, that someone who has struggled so publicly to assert his artistic independence would surrender so completely to the most cliched sex symbol stereotypes. Such was the sad truth. You know, it's like, no, don't love me, I don't deserve your love, but you lose your mind if they don't give it to you, okay? You hollering, I don't want to be a sex symbol, but yet and still you do a video where you're imitating pornography, okay? Stop playing games with me, boy. His dealings with CBS had become a carbon copy of his relationship with Motown. He told the press that he anticipated a fight with CBS over his new lyric for Sanctified Pussy. This shit again? He described the tune as a religious and spiritual, arguing that if a James Bond movie could be called Octopussy, he could call his song Sanctified Pussy. It says, Marvin explained, boyfriend here, girlfriend there, herpes germs everywhere. Some girls do, some girls don't. Some girls will, some girls won't. I want a sanctified pussy, meaning I need a clean one. Marvin Gaye, is your dick clean? Okay? Because you didn't mention here that there's herpes everywhere. It's funny to me that you put that in there. You didn't say the Gondorella, okay? Or the trichomonas, okay? What was that, the clap? You ain't say none of that. You said the herpes. Because what they say, one out of five Americans got the WAP, okay? And 1 out of 2 black Americans got the WAP. Insecure and confused about his music, Marvin sought a producer, an indication of his weakening condition. Searching through his past, he envisioned a duplication of what he had done with Leon Ware in 1976 with I Want You. I want you the right way, baby. And I want you, Marvin Pooh. That's the Marvin Pooh I want. That one, baby. I want that one, baby. He called Barry White, a producer he had long admired, and asked him to write and arrange his new album. At his Sherman Oaks home, White played me one of the songs he had prepared. It would have been an intensely erotic musical marriage. I was flabbergasted that Marvin called, White said. I was honored and thrilled. I started the work, but even after Marvin got off the road, he never came by, never sang a single note. Gaye's distraction grew. In Boston, he called a press conference to announce that he'd hired famed lawyer F. Lee Bailey to conduct an investigation on why he, Marvin, had recently been poisoned. By what, crack? I feel as though there has been a conspiracy, Marvin told Jet magazine. There go the Jet. There go the Jet. Child, they probably in the back somewhere sniggling. Girl, I interviewed Marvin, child. He thinks somebody trying to poison him, but we want to run this shit anyway, girl. He went on to say that were it not for Dick Gregory's formula, which counteracted the poison, he'd be dead. I'm going to let that go. Frankie called me one day from the road. David Simmons told me. David Simmons is one of Marvin Pooh's longtime friends, okay? And said I better join them. He said that Marvin was hurting. I met them in New Haven in July, and I'd never seen Marvin in such a state. He'd do a concert, be completely drained of energy, but then stay up for another 8 hours getting high, making up stories about how he was going to be murdered. One of his aides carried a submachine gun, and there was an assortment of pistols. For the final 10 months of his life, Marvin would become obsessed with guns, the classic pattern of a frightened and enraged man countering his own impotence with the hard steel of a pistol. The tour limped into Los Angeles in August. The series of concerts at the Greek Theater were far from sold out. Billboard published a picture of an after the concert scene of Marvin with Magic Johnson, Stevie Wonder, Diane Cannon, and Anna squeezed in the center. For a year now, when photographed by press, Gaye always wore dark aviator shades. Another touch Michael Jackson hadn't failed to notice. Behind the glasses, Marvin's eyes were half crazed. When the tour was over, Mrs. Gaye told me I never saw Marvin in such bad shape. He was exhausted. He should have checked into a hospital. Every time I mentioned it, though, he said that if anyone came to get him, he'd scream and yell and bite them. It would be prison, he said. No, darling, I told him. It would be help. But Marvin was too stubborn. Oh, the boy was so stubborn. The people around him should have forced him to go, but they did whatever he wanted. That's the way it had always been. Thank you for confirming what I've been saying this whole mother hundred time. David Rich, you have redeemed yourself. In the end, his paranoia inflamed. Marvin ran to the only secure place left, home. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now, remember this. The same people that you meet on your way up will always be, you hear me? Always be the people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves you, babies. Have a good one. Peace.